What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay Money. We got my guy Ronald Kabang with us, aka UCapper. We got Shark in Sports. Ronald on the trumpet, Shark on the violin. I'm on the keyboard. You dig what I'm saying? Let's get some cash, man. What's up with you guys? Ronald, everything cool with you, my guy?
Yeah, we're good. Ready for a new week.
What's up with you, Shark?
Getting my thoughts together. January 24, 2022. I was actually thinking about 20 years ago, standing on my front lawn in high school, thinking about going to school, the misery of it, sitting in a classroom for 7 hours, getting lectured on bullshit, falling asleep. Here we are. It's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. Trifecta of greatness. We got Ronald coming from the West Coast, Jay Money, the legend himself. Great card today. 4 games. We're going to hit the business streets, and let's dominate.
Let's do it, guys. I know it's all business on this show, man. We don't pat our shirts on the back. It's all about today, man. It's all about today. Straight to the streets of Cleveland, guys. We got the Knicks versus the Cavs here. Line open up at 7 here, bouncing all over the place. At 7.5 down to 6.5. Obviously, Ronald, we got the Knicks here coming off of back-to-back. They got it done yesterday. Come off a 4-game homestand. Only won 1 of 3. They're 1-0 at Cam Reddish. Let's see if they can keep it going over there. Obviously, with the Cavs, they're balling. The more rested team here. They did lose Laurie Markkinen maybe for an extended period of time, one of their 3 towers. We'll see if that affects them tonight. Still have Mobley and Allen here, Ronald. What you looking at in this game, my brother?
Yeah, I'm looking at the total here. Like you mentioned, the Knicks are playing second game of back-to-back nights, going from home to road. And this is going to be their first game of a tough 3-game road trip. They got the Cavs tonight, then the Heat and the Bucks coming up next. But they're really not in position to look ahead at this point. They're sitting at 11th in the East, but only a half game separates 11th and 8th place right now. And as far as injuries, Rose is out. Kemba and Robinson are game time decisions tonight. I know Noel came back last game. He played well. So even if Robinson sits, they still got a big guy up there. And a couple of trends here to look at. Knicks are 7-2 to the under when the total is under 208. So they're pretty used to these low totals. They're also 4-1 to the under on the road with no rest. And then 4-1 to the under on the road against teams with a winning record. On the Cavs side, you mentioned they're more rested. They're going to be out without Markkinen, and Rondo's a game-time decision. I think this is, to me, the biggest thing here is a possible look-ahead spot for them. They become one of the top teams in the East. They're only 2 games behind the top spot, and they could be saving themselves for their upcoming matchup against the Bucks. Some trends on this side: they're 4-0-1 to the under at home against teams with no rest. And 7-3 to the under at home against teams with a losing record, and 6-0 to the under when total is less than 206. So they're familiar with these low numbers too. To me, even with the Cavs' strong trends, backing them against the spread this season, I still do lean the Knicks here. I think that look ahead spot is legit. And in the last 10 games, there's only a 1.4 point difference in net rating between the 2 teams. I really do like the under here, though. It's possible neither team hits 100. That's probably going to be my first official play today.
Yeah, and I think that's a great look. One thing that I was looking at the under as well. Of course, Ronald and I usually agree. We like to discuss this type of stuff. Nothing official for me here, but when you look at that under, I think a really key point. Go back to the game played in Madison Square Garden. I believe 126-99, 126-109. Cavs early season. Really contaminated stuff here versus a total. Ricky Rubio, 8 for 9 from 3 in that game. A career game. And Darius Garland also 4 for 5. So talk about a clustered outlier behind the 3-point line. I believe the team shot over 50%, which of course inflated that total massively. And you look at the Knicks yesterday. They went over in a matinee with a 70-point first quarter, a massive outlier. This should come down. Top look would be the under. I do mildly lean Cleveland in the first quarter. I saw my man Cole Gumer with a great comment in the chat. When you look at what happened yesterday, Knicks came out blazing hot, 39 points in the first quarter. Cleveland came out lackluster in home game 1 off a road game. And then, of course, there were great quotes coming out of the locker room. Bickerstaff and the guys talking about leaving everything out there, really playing 4 quarters. And we know that when they want to do that, it will be in the first quarter. Of course, they did lay down the other day to Thunder in the fourth quarter. It was a disgusting effort. The line is inflated, Jay. We talk about this all the time. When the line gets too big, Knicks can cover this. Knicks on a back-to-back, not a 3rd and 4 key point. Knicks have only had 1 3rd and 4 all year. They get a lot of isolated back-to-backs with full rest prior. They cover these spots. They won outright in Atlanta in this spot. Tough spot. I would lean Knicks game. Cleveland first quarter under top look.
Yeah, exactly. I could definitely see the Cavs coming out here hot in the first quarter. They are the best first quarter team this year, whether it be on the road or at the house. This team really likes to come out balling. Obviously, they had a lackluster game last game, but they still won. So it definitely shows that they're coming out pissed even after still winning the game. I do think that the Cavs are starting to be a little bit too much favored in the market. Obviously, they've been one of the best against the spread teams this year. Now, we talk about this all the time. When they readjust the market, now the Cavs are laying all these big spreads. You look at the Knicks here, they're due to come up right after playing so terribly. They come on the road as well. I was thinking yesterday, do they need an environmental shift after being at the house for so long? Now you get this back-to-back. Like I say, Cam Reddish, a little jolt a little shot in the arm over there. So we'll see what happens here. I do lean the Knicks plus the points in this game, full game, but not strong enough for me to take, to be honest with you. I like Ronald's look on the under there. You see it open at 203.5 down to 202. Could not talk you guys out of a slow-paced game. Cavs in the first quarter. I do think that the Knicks could possibly keep this game close, but not enough for me to put my money on it, guys. Let's get over here to the streets of New Orleans here, man. We got the Pelicans, and I always say this. You want to look at how teams play in New Orleans, man. I don't care. I think that some of these teams go down there eating they having a whole festival down there, seafood, whatever. You got a revenge spot for the Pelicans here. They're 4-1 against the spread, last 5 at the house versus the Pacers. Revenge spot, they lost. The Pacers laid -7.5. It was 111-94 November 20th in Indiana. Now, last game of a 5-game road trip for the Pacers where they've been balling. You got the Hornets on deck at the house, so this is a sandwich spot of revenge games. The Pacers had a revenge spot versus the Suns. Now they got one on deck at the house versus the Hornets. Like I say, last game of a 5th game, all in 8 days, all on the road as well. Pelicans on 3 full days of rest, much more rested team. 3-0 straight up against the spread last 3 home games. 5-2 against the spread last 7 games overall. Like I say, man, revenge spot. They're 7-3 as well last 10 meetings here. So give me the Pelicans. I'll go a half unit on this, man. I don't love this card, but I do think the Pelicans will be the top look. They don't have Brandon Ingram. Devontae Graham is questionable. LeVert's questionable as well on the Pacers side. So line could be moving all over the place. Pelicans, the only way I could look in this one, Ronald.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned the 5th straight game on the road for the Pacers and a revenge spot for the Pelicans. Pacers are still going to be shorthanded. McConnell, Brogdon, Turner, and Sabonis are all out. LeVert is the key guy. That's a game time decision that we got to keep an eye on. You know, they've been a huge surprise lately. Even with while they've been shorthanded, they beat the Lakers, they beat the Warriors outright, and then they just covered against the Suns yesterday. But just like the Knicks, I don't think the Pelicans can afford to look over a team at this point. They're 11th. I think they're 11th on the West Coast right now, and they're only 3 games behind a spot. The Pacers, they're 2-5 against the spread, 5-1 to the under on the road against teams with a losing record, 0-5 against the spread when their opponent has 2 days of rest or more, and they're 4-1 to the under on the road when they're less rested than their opponent. On the Pelican side, first game of back-to-back games, obviously going to be without Ingram and Zion, of course, and then Graham's the key guy that we got to keep an eye on here as a game time decision. They're well rested though, like you mentioned. They haven't played since Thursday. A trend 7-4 against the spread and 7-4 to the under when they're more rested than their opponent, and 5-1 against the spread and 5-1 against to the under as home favorites. So for me, leaning to the under, but I'm with you on the Pelicans side here against the spread. There's a 5.9 point difference in net rating the last 5 games between these two teams too, and it's mainly because of the defense. Surprisingly, in the last 5 games, they're 9th in the league in defensive rating, and the Pacers are 25th. To me, I expect both teams to struggle offensively, but just more so the Pacers. So that's why I'm going to be on the Pelicans as well.
It's on you, sir.
Well, we're taking a pause here. We got to gather the thoughts because it's becoming. The energy is building on a suddenly not so casual. My favorite Monday, January 24th, 2022. We're going not half unit, not 1 unit, 2 unit play on the New Orleans Pelicans. What you're looking at here again, if the line gap really does matter. Indy 111-94 in Indianapolis going back to early season. What was going on early season with New Orleans? They came out 1-12 on the campaign. I said that's a clustered outlier. It is. They're 500 since. They were 11 under 500 at 1-12. They are 11 under 500 at 17-28. This is a totally different group. And as Jay mentioned, they are great at home. They are great at home versus the East. They're 6-1 ATS at home against the East. The only non-cover, a blowout loss in the opener against Philly. cover against the Knicks, cover against the Nets, both as significant dogs, and they've won 4 straight outright. Blowout win against the Wizards, beat Milwaukee, beat Detroit down by 16 and a key point, beat Cleveland by 4 points. For all you guys in the chat, without Brandon Ingram. This team is ready to turn up. They catch Indy off a massive, massive trip, coming off 4 games on the West Coast. Indy is 8-1 against the spread on the road against the West, all against the Northwest or the Pacific. They're traveling across the coast. Revenge game, all boxes checked. 2-unit banger on Twitter at 5 a.m. That's why you follow me on Twitter with notifications at 1.5. I knew this would move. People thought I was going for the Bulls CLV. If I'm going for New Orleans to move, I know something. The market knows something. Sharps know something. Going official here, 1 unit at -3. Top look of the day. Jay.
Appreciate that, my guy. I appreciate that. And also the last key point, the cherry on top, Pelicans 7-1 at the house as home favorites, coming off of avenging a loss of 15 or more points. That's the cherry on top, guys. Let's catch the Pelicans tonight, man. Let's go over here to the streets of OKC, man. We got the Bulls versus the Thunder. A lot of shit going on here. Thunder only won one of their last 10 games, so they're 1-9 straight up last 10. They are 7-1-1 against the spread last 9 home games, so they cover at the house. What happens though? They're usually catching a boatload of points at the house. Not necessarily a good spot if you ask me. Like say first game back at the house off a road trip. You have the Bulls here, unfortunately, third game at 4 nights all on the road. And then you got Vucevic. He's going to be questionable here. He banged knees up against the floor last night. So I said that. I was like, damn, Vucevic may not play tomorrow. Levine and Javonte Green are joining them in OKC. Won't be a back-to-back or third game in 4 nights for them. A sneaky suspicion that Levine comes to play here. The Bulls have lost 6 of 7. They know they're sliding out of the East. They're sliding down to 2, to 3, to 4. They need a win in the worst way. And the Thunder are doormat. Are they a tanking team? We don't know. Sometimes they come to play, other times they don't. This is a spot where I wouldn't be looking towards the Thunder to cover a spread at the house because they basically need to win the game. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, the Bulls are sliding. They don't really have a rim protector, but I just crazy feeling here that the Bulls get it done. But I must say it's not strong enough for me to put my money on it here, Ronald.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's really tough to back a Thunder team who's last in offensive rating this season in the NBA. Obviously, like you mentioned, the Bulls are struggling right now. Lost 6 of the last 7, including an outright loss to the Magic, and it really is mainly due to all the injury issues they've been having. Right, Caruso, Ball, Derek Jones are out. Vucevic, Levine, and I think Green are all game time decisions tonight. So, if either one of especially Levine, if he plays, it's going to be a big boost for them, especially offensively. This is going to be their third road game in 4 days, second half of back-to-back as well. We could probably see some tired legs on the Bulls side tonight. But what I noticed is they actually struggle defensively more so than the offensive side of the ball in back-to-back games. They're actually 7-2 to the over when they're playing on no rest. They're averaging just under 112 points per game while allowing 112 points per game in those situations. But the Thunder, like we mentioned, they suck offensively. They're 9-1 to the under, even when they're more rested than their opponent, right? This is probably why I'm looking more to the side than the total, because either way, Bulls allow more points on defense with no rest, but the Thunder just can't score. But on this side, if Levine, Boost, and Javonte Green are out, it's hard to back the Thunder, but I would lean that way just because of how well they've been covering at home. To me, they're the healthier team, right? They're 14-6 against the spread as home dogs, 7-3 against the spread when they're more rested than their opponent. And there's only a 3-point gap between the two teams in net rating in the last 10 games. And it is because of all those injuries. Obviously it's a stay away game for me on both sides and the total, but I would lean actually the Thunder here.
Sorry, what you thinking?
And I think this is a really tough game. We talked about it yesterday, where we specifically said -3.5 Bulls at Orlando was not going to be your handout on a divisional Sunday in the NFL, and it wasn't. They got blown out, and this is what we always try to say to you guys. Again, we always say this. We're not competing with you guys. We love your takes. We encourage you to drop your plays and your takes, but we're giving you advice that applies to long-term NBA basketball. When you see a team that has a far better record laying minimal points to a team with an abysmal record, They're telling you a story. Again, it's an average, not a price. They're telling you the average outcome of the game is moving in the direction of the underdog. This line is telling you a similar story. However, what Jay said, I think, does apply here. Thunder coming here off a road trip and a cover. It's a tough spot for the Thunder. And again, Chicago is inconsistent. They have covered a lot of these short lines on the road. And again, going out of conference, which I talked about yesterday, in specifically the game, the Spurs 76ers game and the Portland-Toronto game, which I laid off of correctly, thank God. I would have gone 1-4 if I continued to pound those spots, which I would have done 3 years ago. Key point, learning as you go, even at the top level. I do think Chicago could get there tonight. Again, they got insulted last night. They still have pros. DeMar DeRozan is an absolute pros pro. This game could go either way. I think ultimately when you zoom in on this line -2, they're telling you it's going to be a tight game. 2 points, flip a coin. You got counter narratives either way.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. My guy Brandon Matthew in the chat, man. Jay Shark Ronald equals Jordan Pippen and Rodman. Man, that's the best comment I've seen all day. But I encourage you guys, man, drop your plays in the chat. It's us against the bookies, man. We all trying to get some cash. Whether you like in the other side, props, totals, whatever, man. Drop that shit in the chat. Leave them in the comments after the show, man. People are seeing it. They're seeing your plays. That's how I got started doing this. Coming on shows, dropping my plays in the chat, man. So I encourage you guys to do it. Yeah, like funky spot. Thunder 1-9 straight up. Then they come off 4-game road trip. They played 6 of their last 7 games on the road. Now they come back to the house. This is a terrible spot, if you ask me. I'm looking out for Levine and Javonte Green. I don't even really think Vucevic matters here. I think if Levine comes in here to play, like I said, they flew in. We'll meet you in OKC. Let's go and beat these guys down. That's the only way I can look in this one. Keep an eye on Levine. I feel like if he plays, they're taking this game serious and they're looking at it as a must-win spot. Let's go over here to the streets of Phoenix, guys. The last game up. Another game with a ton of injuries. You got the Jazz here, 3rd game before nights, all on the road. Hey, is Gobert going to play? We don't know. Gobert and Bogdanovich both left the game last night. Now, for the Suns, do I want to lay 9 with them without DeAndre Ayton, Campaign, and Jay Crowder? No, I do not. This game is all over the place, Ronald. You liking something here?
Yeah, I mean, so the Jazz, they're playing their second back-to-back road games. They're going to be shorthanded. Mitchell and Whiteside are out. Bogdanovich and Gobert, both game time decisions tonight. I feel like they're both going to sit for injury management because both of these teams play on Wednesday. And if Ayton's out tonight, I would think they would sit Gobert. Suns are number 1 in the league this season. Crowder, Payne, and Ayton out tonight, so they're going to be shorthanded as well. They're actually number 1 in net rating by a huge margin in the last 5 games. Their net rating during that time frame is 15.7, and second place is Boston at 7.2. That's a huge gap right there, but it's misleading because they played the Pacers twice, I believe, right? And then they beat the Pistons and the Spurs. The only meaningful game within the last 5 games was against the Mavs. And as far as trends goes, it's tough between these two teams. There's just so many competing trends on both the side and the total. I can't really find a clear edge when it comes to that. I do lean the Jazz here, though. I do feel like the line is a bit inflated because of the numbers that the Suns have been putting up lately, like recency bias, right? I think the Jazz players, they play up and keep this one close without some of their key players, kind of like how the Pacers have been doing the last 3 games. I feel like the Suns might just do enough to win. I lean the Jazz plus the points here.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be tough. Obviously, you said inflated line. I went back to last year. Obviously, you do this effectively when you see divisional opponent or conference opponents, I should say. Last year, Jazz did lose all 3 to Phoenix. Phoenix absolutely owned them last year in all environments. So you do get a triple revenge game. I do think that stands for something. People always say, Shark, don't go back to last year. Guys, it's the same team. They remember this stuff. This team hammered us last year. And they come in here on a back-to-back. Obviously, they covered last night a real significant backdoor against the Warriors. Congratulations for the Warriors for scoring 11 points in the 4th quarter last night. That was very impressive stuff. But when you look at coming in here -9, I think really it's going to be a sharp figure. I think it's inflated, and I think it will get that direction. I think Utah could definitely crater down the stretch here in a fatigue environment. But again, this is just incredibly tough to cap. We're definitely data deficient between these teams this calendar year. I've said this numerous times. This will be more accessible with their full players coming back in the 2nd and 3rd matchup. I got nothing here today, Jeff.
Exactly. Yeah. No Mitchell. There's, like you say, with Gobert, and we know Gobert been having some ankle issues. So we'll see what happens in there. When Bogdanovich, he left the game. It was already questionable with the finger. Then he left the game. It's not a good sign, guys. When the guys are leaving the game and not come back, then they left their guys in for a while as well. Another problem with the Bulls, they left DeRozan, and it's one more player. They left him in for like all the way to the end of the 4th quarter. I'm watching the game like, why, bro? Why don't you just take him out? It's crazy, man. It's literally counter narratives to every one of these plays, man. But we will definitely try and get some cash for sure, man. I'm staying away from this Suns versus Jazz spot, guys. Shark, break them off with your officials before we get out of here, my brother.
Absolutely. 2-unit play on Twitter. Again, follow me at 5 a.m. I do get better lines in the morning. It's not because I'm getting better lines. The market is better. 1-unit official, New Orleans -3 for the show. A lot going on here. Just to mildly recap, Indy comes in here on the back end of a long trip. They're 8-1 against the West on the road, but all Northwest and Pacific. This is their first game at the Southwest. Their next 4 road games are at the Southwest. They get the Mavs. They get a couple other ones coming up here. And New Orleans is 4-0 straight up last 4 against Eastern opponents at home. All opponents. Bad opponents, top opponents, all divisions, and without Brandon Ingram. It's a top play. It's an opportunity to dominate. Monday, January 24th, 2022. Shark Waters Nation, onwards the lifestyle. Ride the wave or get out of the water. Big Money and Ronald. Drop those officials, Ronald. What do we have here, man?
Yeah, for me, I'm with you. I'm going with the Pelicans against the spread here, and then also strong lean on the Knicks game going under. I'm pretty sure that's going to probably be another official play for me. I haven't bet that yet, but I did bet the Pelicans.
Got you. Yeah. For me, man, I'm gonna go half unit on Pelicans -3. Like I said, I like the game. I like the spot for them. I hate the fact that they're not full strength. Obviously, LeVert possibly come back for the Pacers here, but they have a game tomorrow versus Philly. That was really one of the main things. Like if this was just a one-off, and they had at least a day off, I'd be all over it. Could possibly look ahead spot, but Pelicans, the only way I could look is actually probably the best player on the board. Lean to the Bulls here. Wait to see if Levine's going to play. Obviously, Bucci could be out, but Levine, Javonte Green come back. I think they'll go all out and try to win this game. I lean the Knicks. They are 11-3 against the spread. Last 14 playing on back-to-backs. 5-2 last 7 meetings versus the Cavs. But I did end up staying off this one, guys. Real quick before we get out of here, got to let you know it's $9 Monday over there at Wager Talk. Go and check them out. Any packages you get over there, normally $35, $45. You get them for $9 on Monday. And good.
Have you ever checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. All NBA Talk with J Money viewers who are new to Wager Talk can get a 1-day all-access pass to the handicapper of their choice for only $1 versus a regular price of $39 using coupon code J1 when checking out. Our new roster of experts is 25 deep, covering sports from around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is be a first-time Wager Talk customer. Go to wagertalk.com, choose the handicapper of your choice, use coupon code J1 when checking out on a 1-day all-access pass, and get a full day of picks for only $1.
J1, man, full day of packages for $1 could not talk you off as well, man. Let's fly with the Pelicans tonight, my guy. Let's cash. We out.